Okay, so this is going to explain what a sample is in statistics. So far we've worked with questionnaires. Now we're doing a bit more. We're going to work with samples. And I'm just explaining what it is and the definitions involved and how we can pick the best samples possible. So first of all, there are two things you need to know the definition of: populations and samples. The only way I can really explain what these are is by giving an example. So let's say we want to find out whether first year students in Ireland prefer TikTok or Twitch as an app. They don't have to love each one, but which one do they prefer? So just like we had in the last one, we want to create a questionnaire where we ask an unbiased question that will give the most realistic response from people and be easy to answer for people. So this question will be in this one: which app do you prefer, TikTok or Twitch? It's a very simple question. It's not going to lead people in a certain way. It is a good question. So who do we ask this question to for our study? Because remember, we're trying to find out about first year students in Ireland. We need to pick a number of people to ask this question to and then make predictions about first year students in Ireland. As I mentioned before, we need to go through what a population is and what a sample is. Do first year students in Ireland prefer TikTok or Twitch? That is our question. We are trying to make a prediction about all first year students in Ireland. So the population in this study is going to be the first year students in Ireland, because the population means, it doesn't mean the population of a country. What it means is the whole group being studied. All first year students are being studied, so that is our population, is first year students in Ireland. Would we ask our question about TikTok or Twitch to every first year student in Ireland for our study? Would we have to contact every school, and then get questions sent out to everyone, then get someone to go through all the questions? No, that would be far too much effort for us. We would want to pick a smaller study than the whole population because the population is too big. It would be a very accurate result we'd get. So it's a good result, but it's too much hassle. It would take us months to do that. So we're not bothered doing that. Instead of that, we need to pick a sample of the population. That means a smaller section of the population and interview them. Only them. We don't interview the whole population. So as an example, what about if we picked A4 in Clonkeene College as our sample? So we're going to pick A4 as our sample for the question about whether you prefer TikTok or Twitch. Would A4 be a good sample for our study? No, it would not. Why would it be a bad sample? Well, there's lots of reasons A4 would be a bad sample. I mean, you know yourselves, you're very loud, you're quite annoying, you are quite unintelligent. So there's lots of issues. But they wouldn't really make it a bad sample in that case. We have to think of whether this sample is good for the result we want to predict about the first year students in the population. So there are a few things about A4 that won't make it a good sample. They're all from the same area. That's not good because that's not representative. There's no one from the countryside. There's no one from North Dublin. There's no one from Wicklow or whatever. Outside of Dublin, that's all you are. South Dublin particularly, nearish Blackrock, that's a very specific area. We want an opinion of the whole country of first year students. We don't just care about one area. Also, you all go to the same school, so you're a limited enough selection. It's not like everyone goes to Clonkeene College. Only particular families send their kids to Clonkeene College. So you would need, once again, you're in all a similar sort of demographic, so it's not good in that regard. Most importantly, though, what is the main thing forgetting? What is the main thing that makes A4 a bad sample? You are all male. You are all boys. If we want to have a study of all first year students in Ireland, half of them are going to be female. If you pick a sample that is all boys, that's not going to give you an accurate result as to which app is better. Maybe boys prefer Twitch to girls, so based on the results from your questionnaire to A4, you might not get a good result that's predictive of the whole population, which is the first year students in Ireland. So it's a bad sample because of that. And just to say, we don't say bad sample. I'm just saying that because that's basically what it is. We say biased sample. Biased means that if we ask questions to this sample, they will not give us an accurate result for the study. So bias just means bad for a sample. Kind of like biased question in a questionnaire. It leads the question to ask a certain way. So bias for a sample, it's like leading the people. You're picking the sample that will give us an inaccurate result. How do we make a sample more accurate? The bigger the sample, the more accurate it's going to be. Think about it. If you interviewed 5 people for your sample, if 3 of them thought a certain way, that would make it look like there's a lot of people think a certain way. But if you interviewed 1,000 people for a sample, it's a lot less likely that those 1,000 people are going to have similar opinions. So generally, the bigger the sample, the better. But as well, the bigger the sample, it is more hassle to interview everyone. Like we said, we're not going to interview every first-year student in Ireland, so you have to consider that as well. You need to find the happy medium between having a big enough sample, but not too big that it is too hard to interview everyone. So how else can a sample be biased? It's not just to do with size. It's not just to do with whether you're male or female or where you're from. There's also other aspects. So the sample picked are from a group that are more likely to answer a certain way. So this is quite similar to we said for Clonkeen, A4 and Clonkeen, you're more likely to answer a certain way, but you can be even more biased than A4 and Clonkeen. We need a sample that will be neutral. And representative, so that means it reflects the population. If you pick a good sample, that means it's going to have a good prediction about how the whole population feels. So as another example, we're going to ask, is Donald Trump a popular president? Okay, so this is another example to show what a bad sample might be. For a study that wants to find out the above, we are going to pick a sample and ask the question. So what question are we going to ask? Again, keep it as simple as it is. Do you think Donald Trump is a successful president? Yes or no? It's an easy question. They can answer it easy. It's not biased. It is fine as a question. Now, we need a sample. If we picked as our sample the people in this picture, would it be a good sample? Look at them there. You can see them. They're delighted that Trump's there. They have the sign, "Thank you, Lord Jesus, for President Trump." I think they're going to answer quite positively to the question. They are fanatics about Trump. They are not a good sample because it's not going to be a representative sample of the whole population. What would be a better sample? So basically, we want to pick a sample that will be as random as possible, that picks up all sorts of people from all different backgrounds as much as possible. Random people walking on the street, that'll be okay as a sample. A group of people at a bus stop in the morning, that's okay. And a group of people that work on a street in New York, that's another good sample. Another okay sample. But again, once again, there's problems with these samples as well, because think about it. Only certain people walk on the street. A lot of people stay at home the whole time. They wouldn't go out on the street. A lot of people at a bus stop, like that's specific people that use a bus in the morning. Not everyone uses a bus in the morning. It's not representative of the whole population. And the last one, people that work on a street in New York. New York's a very specific area, and it's one street we're looking at. Maybe it's a rich area we're looking at. So again, it's not very good as a population, as a sample. It's better than the Trump fans, but it's still not great. So instead of that, what we'd want as a good sample would be a combination of any of the above. So you could maybe pick a few from the first one, a few from the second one, a few from the third, kind of mix them up so you get a reflective thing of the whole population. You need to pick all sorts of types of people to make it the more accurate you can. So, in conclusion, to make a sample as unbiased as possible, it needs to be as big as possible. The bigger the better, but you don't want to make it too big to make it difficult to ask everyone, and then as neutral as possible. So as random a group of people as you possibly can be. So from this, you should be able to answer the question on the section 2 in the statistics chapter we did before.